We've got a little problem with one of the front tyres. I'll show you. I'll walk around there first of all. If you look here, there's just no tread left. The tread here, something's gone wrong with it. If you look at the amount of tread on these to this one and the one above it, the tyre must have got an egg in it for it to wear so low. We have had a slight dump, like a knocking as we've been driving. So I'm putting it down to that the tyre's starting to deform, but it's completely bald here. So it's time for a new, the spare wheel to go on. Right, back to the back of the truck. And you see the spare, it's a different make, but it's worn completely correctly. So all I've got to do now is take it off. Doesn't weigh much, not at all, honest. So here we go. First things first is undo the bolt in the centre. It's a long time since I've done this, so, so I can't really remember. But that's what I think it is. So I'll find out. I set the tripod up down here. Hopefully that's about right. Right. That was easy enough. Right. What happens now is I've got to tip the whole cradle backwards. This comes out and stops to allow me to manoeuvre and get another bite at dropping it onto the floor due to the weight. Both sides, there's a bolt here which you undo, which allows it to tip. So I've already taken one out. So now it's a case of, whiz this one off. I'll preempt the video by taking one off already, so there's no point in watching me doing two. I'm very excited doing one. Right, there we go. That one there. Now the fun bit. See how heavy this is. Out the way. Not bad at all. Right, got a on the top here. There's another 2 bolts to get the cradle off, or nut should I say. So just undo that. It's quite handy with this wheel because it's still got the tyre pressure valve on it, so it's one bit of work less to do. Yeah, we're in a place in France at the moment, in the Pyrenees, and we've driven through. I don't actually know the name of the town we're in at the moment, but we've driven through a little place called Riss. The locals were quite impressed with the road we've come down because it was so narrow. It's incredible. I wouldn't have liked to. We met one car, but luckily it was on a slightly wider bit, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, it was an entertaining road to say the least. Probably 18 months or 2 years since I've put this wheel back on because I bought new tyres, 4 new tyres all round, and then kept these because they're only about 4 or 5 years old, so the rubber's still good. The original tyre on the back was 26 years old because I had a date stamp. I decided it wasn't really worth keeping as a spare, so it was better putting 4 new tyres on the truck, and then we know even if the tread's a bit low, it's okay because the rubber's still good. Right, let's move the GoPro again. So it's on the floor, hopefully. Kick that underneath. There we go. One wheel off, nice and simple. Back to the front. Put the tools. Back around to the front. This is fairly straightforward. Take off the Ben-Hur thing. I've seen some of these where they get another one of these rings, turn it round, put it on first the wrong way, and then one the correct way, and then you get a step that's twice as wide. It's quite a good idea, but I suppose only if you can get hold of another one. Being we're in Europe and there's not many of these trucks around, it's like difficult for spares that are not really necessary. Right, the 13mm spanner, which didn't come in the kit, but all the bolts here are now 13mm head. Had problems with the threads into the hubs, where when I bought the truck, some of the threads were gone. There's no bolts in them, and then realised that the threads here and here, they'd been stripped. So a few of them I've had to helicoil them, drill them out bigger, and then helicoil them. And then I'll put new bolts in, but the bolts in Europe always have a 13mm head on them, rather than the Russians that run a 12mm head. Another strange thing is they run on this truck is the normal thread's 1.25, a common for an M8, and they'll run a fine thread, a 1mm, which makes life a little bit awkward at times. I've tried to change them all to, as I'm going, I'm changing them to 1.5s, so it just makes life easier and I can switch and change between them. Right, so we're on. If you look here, there's a little nick. I don't know if you can see that. A little nick in the bolt, in the nuts, and also the mark on the top of here, which lets me know it's a left-hand thread. So loosen the nuts the wrong way. So normally go that way to loosen, so I've got to go that way. Yep. Excuse the grunting. It's too early in the morning, this is. They haven't worn too well, these tyres though. I suppose they're very, very soft ones. They're meant for a cold climate in Russia, and also it's a mud tyre, so they're designed for soft roads. Trouble we found is, because we've been to Morocco for a start, so it's very, very hot over there. As soon as you get on a hot tarmac, the rubber's getting warm, it's going soft and it's wearing out quick. So we haven't got a lot of choice really. It's an oddball tyre, oddball size. Look at the size there, 12.0018, which is, there's nothing, no European equivalent. So we're stuck. We've got to order from one of the Eastern Bloc countries to get new tyres. Right, the jacket up. The original jack failed. It started leaking, so I had to buy a new one. Just a bog standard 8-ton trolley jack, bottle jack. Just spinning the tyre around then to see if I can see where the fault is. What I'm trying to do now is look from the tyre to a point on the spring and see if it changes diameter. It's got a bulge, yeah it has. Yeah, definitely changing its position. Not quite as much as I'd expected, but then I suppose it's worn the tread out to try and keep it round. Oh, there we go. Naturally doing it the wrong way again. Gotta do righty loosey. I was doing lefty. Yeah, righty tighty I was doing. It's a fantastic place, the Pyrenees, if you get the chance to come here. I'm going to post a couple of videos on some of the roads we've driven on as well, once we get time. Biggest problem we've got is we're using mobile data to upload videos, which is always a problem because the upload speeds are so slow. The amount of data that we go through. Tyre here, but if you look at the amount of tread here, it's okay, and then this little patch here, it's just disappeared. and there it's completely gone. So we've definitely got a fault in the tyre. You can see it started to peel. But the chances are, if it's grown a lump, if the tyre is going out of shape, it's grown a lump over, so it'll be rubbing on this harder, so it's worn the tread down. So that's all it is. So it's the carcass of the tyre starting to fail. Right. Hello. Cloth for the knees. Right, so the valve has to go opposite there. Just stop it turning, maybe. Nope. Get in. Should be about there. Let's have a look. Always fun. So that's perfect. What I'll be able to do is get the pipe on from there to there. That's the correct position. So now the nuts back on. Look over there, you got the chap in the white shorts working, banging at something, and then 3 other people just stood there watching. Brilliant. You can always come over here and watch as well if you want to. Nobody offered to lift the wheel though. Fellas around here for a little bit of countryside, There's a killer cat over there. Yeah. It's just lovely. Really nice. Back to the important stuff again. We have to do is keep wiggling the wheel so that the chamfer on the nuts lines up with the wheel. Otherwise, if you tighten one up too much, the wheel won't rattle around and then the chamfers don't tighten. The other thing I did before we set off on the journey, I put it's a thing called balance beads. It's tiny glass beads which you put in through the tyre valve, and they sit inside the inner tube and they actually balance the tyres as you're moving. It's a dynamic balancing system, because to balance these on a normal machine it's just impossible. So these beads, it's a little bit of black magic. They sit and they just fall to the bottom. There's 400 grams of these little beads and they fall to the bottom of the tyre, and as you drive they start spinning and they go opposite the heavy spot of the tyre, and they just dynamically balance. You come to the next set of traffic lights, you stop, the beads drop to the bottom again. As you start driving again, once you get to about 45 kilometers an hour, it balances the tyres again, and the difference it's made is incredible. You know, once we're doing 60-70 kilometers an hour, it just smooths it out so much. But that's probably one of the problems we've had now, is the balancing beads are so good they'll balance out a tyre with a big egg in it. I'm presuming that's what's happened. But this tyre isn't fitted with them, so we'll have one shaky wheel. But there is another downside, or the only downside we've found to the balancing beads, is that if you're continuously going slow and you haven't got up to speed to balance the tyres, for the beads to balance themselves, you end up with a 400 gram out of balance at slow speeds, so you feel a little dunk 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 as you're driving. But now I'm going to find out whether it was due to the beads or due to the fact that the tyre had an egg in it. Be interesting, a little interesting one to find out. But on the next set of tyres I'm definitely going to put the balance beads back in. What you can do is excuse me, is cut the right, what I've done now is I've put it back. I'm having a flat battery on the GoPro, so I've tightened the nut back up, put this back in. That's simple. Tighten the bolt that side, tighten the bolt that side, and I've gone back to the front wheel and I've tightened the wheel nuts, so we're safe. So that's it. The only thing now to put back is a little trash bag on the back. So there we go, how to change the wheel on a Gaz66. Hopefully there's not another problem, another wheel or tyre problem, because the spare is on the roof, which will be fun to get down. Okay.